Ooh, smells like fresh cooked boards to me. Oh yeah, look at that. All those surface mount parts coming right off. Look at that. That is a clean board. Well, hello, Scrappers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to answer a question that I got a lot over the last couple of weeks. Um, I released my series on Easy Gold from Scrap IC Chips, which I'll put a link to in the upper right if you haven't seen it. Check it out. It was very popular. Thanks everyone who watched it, who commented. I really appreciate it. One question I got a lot though was, where do you get your IC chips from? Because I've showed you how to easily process them and get gold out of them, but now people want me to show you how to easily acquire IC chips. Well, first thing you got to acquire is boards with lots of IC chips on them. Okay, and then you can get the chips off the boards. So what we're going to do today is I've got a fair number of boards here that all have surface mount chips on them. So this is perfect for using my $6.95 toaster oven that I got from Goodwill. So this is going to depopulate these surface mount chips like nobody's business. Okay, that's going to work great. And then I can add these chips to my pile of chips that need to be processed. So that's one way I get my chips. Another way is I get boards where there's chips socketed. Well, those come out really easy. That's a no-brainer. If they're through hole, and some of these boards do have some through hole parts on them, a few here and there, those are a little tougher, but the oven here can get them out with an extended stay inside. So, for large boards with lots of through hole chips on them, I use my kilns. I've got kilns out back that I use for other things, but I can also use them for depopulating boards. I'll just put them in the kiln, set the kiln up to above the temperature, the melting point to solder, let the boards come up to temperature, and then I can just pull all the parts out real easy with a pair of pliers. I can harvest IC chips all day that way until I've got 50, 60 pounds of them like I do now at the moment. So, and sometimes I'll buy chips from other scrappers who aren't set up to process them like I am. So that's where I get my chips from. All those different sources. Getting the boards, well, that's scrap pickups I do. I do e-waste scrap pickups. I get a lot of boards that way, just tons of them, and I harvest the chips off of them because the chips contain gold. I mean, some of these boards, yeah, they've got nice gold fingers on them up here, yeah. And I will get those gold fingers off these boards for sure. But I'll tell you what, there's more gold in the chips, really, because the plating on the fingers is very, very thin. The chips have gold wires in them, and the wires actually have some thickness to them. So there's really much more gold in the chips, in my experience, than there is in the fingers. The fingers are a lot easier to harvest, though. So, okay, all that being said, let's get busy depopulating some boards. I'll show you how easy it is using a cheap secondhand toaster oven like this one, which cost me a whole $6.95 at my local Goodwill store. You can probably find one at the Goodwill, Salvation Army, thrift store, or whatever. They're easy to find. They're everywhere. They let me plug it into the store and make sure it worked first. It did. It got hot. I said, okay, $6.95, what a deal. So, all right, so let's get started depopulating some boards. Enough talk. Okay, so I said I was going to make sure I got the gold fingers. I'm going to do that first. I mean, they just break off real easy, like so. I like to do it with a pair of pliers. Unless I have a whole bunch of boards, then maybe I'll use shears or even sometimes my bandsaw to take them off. But really, they come off pretty easy this way. If you don't have a whole crap ton of boards that you're going to process. Today I've got, I don't know, 20, 30 maybe. I'll just do the ones that have fingers like this. Pretty simple, pretty quick. And the reason I'm taking the fingers off before I put them in the oven is because sometimes the solder on the boards will melt and run down and coat the gold fingers. And I don't want that to happen. So we'll just pull these off first. Then we don't have to worry about the gold getting entombed under solder, where it's a little harder to get. Okay, I got all the fingers off of this first batch of boards. I will put them with my finger collection for eventual gold recovery from them too. Don't want to miss any gold. Want to get it all off these boards. So let me put those away, and then we'll start cooking some boards. Okay, so let's depopulate some boards. Now, I've shown this process in previous videos, and some other people have been trying to emulate me, and they've been confused about how to do it. Okay, get yourself a toaster oven with broiler elements on top. Okay. And then you want to get the boards as close to those broiler elements as you can. So I've got a couple of trays in here. I've got this shelf up as high in here as it'll go. And I've got a couple of trays here to build it up even higher. So we get up close to those broiler elements up there. We want those broilers heating the surface of the boards here so that all these chips, the solder holding these chips in, will melt. So, I mean, if you put it on like bake, you're only going to have the lower elements. It's going to take forever to heat this up enough to melt the solder. You want some throughput here. You want to be able to do this fairly quickly if you got a lot of boards. So, you know, use the broilers. Get these up as close to the broiler as you can. And, yeah, so I'll put a few boards on here. Lay them out flat. Yeah. And that's a good start, I guess. We'll do this. Your first batch is going to take a little while because the oven's stone cold. So I put this on max, temperature high, as high as it'll go. Set to broil, and we turn it on. And now we just wait. Like I say, it's going to take a few minutes to warm up because it's cold. Once this thing gets hot and the first batch is done, we'll be able to take this out, put another batch in, and they'll be done pretty quick because everything will be hot in there. So the first batch just takes a little while. So let me get a container to put all of the lovely components that are going to come off of these into once they're free, and my gloves so I can pull the hot parts out without getting burnt. All right, it's been a few minutes. Let's see what we got in here. Ooh, smells like fresh cooked boards to me. Oh yeah, look at that. All those surface mount parts coming right off. Look at that. That is a clean board. Except for this connector over here. Let me see. There's a bunch of little MLCCs on this side. I think I'll put it back in for a few minutes and let it cook on that side and get those MLCCs off. And this board, maybe it's just cooled off since it's been out, but this board needs a little bit more cooking too. So we'll put it back in and we'll cook it for a few more minutes, and maybe this time I'll just pull the individual boards out instead of the whole tray and not give them a chance to cool before I get the parts off of them. But yeah, this actually works pretty well. And you know, in the couple of minutes it takes for the boards to heat up enough for the parts to loosen up, I can work on other stuff in the background. I got stuff going on in the fume hood. I got stuff going on back in the workshop. So I just sort of make rounds from one project to another. And pretty soon I'll have a whole bunch of parts over here without having to babysit this too much. Okay, it's been a couple more minutes, just a couple. Let's see about this board here, which I didn't get much off of before. Oh yeah, this time, oh yeah, it's all coming off. Oh, including those connectors, lovely gold connectors, that's nice. Oh, everything on both sides of the board came off. That's great. That's totally depopulated board right there. Everything I could possibly want off of it is off of it. All right. Let's have another look at this board right here. See if these MLCCs are ready to come off. Oh yeah, there they all are. The surface tension of the solder kind of holds them on, but there you go. Another totally depopulated board except for this connector, which, yeah, I might have to hit that with a torch to get it off. But there we go. All right, I'll just look at these little boards I put in here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Everything's coming off. Perfect. Another totally depopulated board. Excellent. One more. Uh-oh. Yep. Parts are going everywhere. I gotta find the one that went on the ground. Yep, this is working really, really well. Except when they've got plastic on them that melts and it makes a gooey mess. But there we go. Okay. So let's throw a couple more boards into the oven, or let's put one big board in. Is that gonna fit? Now we'll let it cook. The door won't close, but I think it'll get hot enough back here, and then we can depopulate that half, flip it around, and depopulate the other half. And while that's happening, I'm going to put this in there, and it can share the heat. And we'll get both these boards depopulated eventually. Okay, let's see what we got going on in here. After a few minutes. Uh-oh. Yeah, the parts are falling off all over the place. Yeah, easy peasy. I'll tell you what, there's a tray in the bottom of this thing, and it's going to catch anything that falls off. Okay, so some of the parts on the part that was near the front did not come off, but that's okay. I'll just put it back in the other way. Let's see what's come off of this board here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. We're getting a lot of parts off of this thing. Uh-oh. Melted some of the connectors, but that's okay. I don't really care about that. Okay, I'll put this back in. There's a few components on this back side. Yeah, there's a lot of MLCCs over here. I'll put this back in. And we'll see if we can get them to come off. Flip this one over. See if we can get those MLCCs off of it. And then a few other components that are still stuck on there. And we'll just keep this up until I work through all of these boards. And getting quite a collection of parts here. Not just IC chips, but also connectors with lots of gold plating on them. So, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Okay. Keep going here until I work through all this batch of boards. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting sort of a production line going here, you know. Put boards in, pull them out, parts off, put new boards in, one after another. Oh. Yeah, these boards I need to put back in, like I said, upside down so the MLCCs can come off on the other side. Another little board here. Oh yeah, all the parts coming right off. Both sides. Oh, even that connector came off. Wow. So completely depopulated board. Now, one question I get about these completely depopulated boards still covered with solder is, do I recover the solder from them? And the answer to that is I actually have, and I have other videos about that, because people say tin is valuable these days, and they're right. Tin is valuable these days. Price of tin has gone up a lot. We've got this critical materials war going on with China, and they've cut off our supplies to stuff, so, you know, commodity prices are going up. So, yeah, there are ways to recover the tin off these boards. One way I have done it is to just soak them in hydrochloric acid. That will dissolve all the tin off the boards. It won't dissolve the copper. It'll just dissolve the tin. So you'll have a relatively pure tin solution there. And then you can recover the tin through a couple of different methods. Electrolysis is one, or I'll try to put a link to one of my videos where I did it in a slightly more spectacular way, where I converted it to tin oxide and then used aluminum in a thermite reaction to recover metallic tin. And that worked too. And it was a hell of a light show, let me tell you. So, yeah. So it's just, like I say, a matter of getting an assembly line going. Boards come out, boards go in. And before you know it, you're starting to accumulate a lot of parts. We'll take a look at what we're accumulating here when I get done. So I think I'm just going to run the rest of these boards through. And then when I'm done, we'll sort these parts out a little bit and have a look at what I'm collecting here. This is all good stuff, by the way. It's all got value. All right, so there we go. They've all gone through. They're all fully depopulated pretty much. This is the stuff I got. Quite a bit for about a half hour's work. That was good. I actually still have a bunch more of these medium-sized boards I need to work on, but I'll show you what I got just off of these, okay? It's a fair amount of stuff here. I'll kind of sort it out into different categories and talk a little bit about each category, because there's not just chips here, and there's several different types of chips. So there's a lot of good stuff here. Almost all of it has some value. So let me sort it out a bit, and we'll talk about the different bits and pieces here. All right, so I just pulled some representative samples of stuff out of here. There's still a bunch of stuff in here. It's going to take a lot of sorting to sort it all out into its different piles, but got big connectors. All these connectors have gold plating on them. Some of these boards got hot enough for those connectors off the edges to come off. I probably need to run the rest of them back through for a few minutes, get them hot enough to pull it off. Then the boards will be completely depopulated. Got lots of chips, from big flat packs to smaller flat packs to dual inlines to tiny. Some of these little chips are very, very tiny down here, but they all contain gold. That's the important part. They all contain gold bond wires. Speaking of gold, well, okay, over here, my favorite things in the world, gold corner VGAs. I got a few of those. You know, the epoxy tops of these things are about 1% gold by weight. I love gold corner VGAs. I really, really do. We got some gold-plated pins and connectors up here. Again, I just pulled a few representative samples out. There's a lot more in here. Let's see what else we got down here. We've got crystals and crystal oscillators, including at least one gold band oscillator I found in there. And these weird-looking ceramic ones here, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a lot of gold in them too, because they kind of look like, I don't know, maybe gold band oscillators too. So, yeah, and there's more in the thing there. Some LEDs. Each LED has a little whisker of gold in it and a silver reflector. So we're gonna get silver and gold from LEDs. Got some little MLCCs here. Actually, these are the bigger ones. The thing here is full of hundreds of tiny ones on the bottom. I just pulled a few of the bigger ones out. Got some tantalum capacitors. I just did a video on tantalum capacitors, and I'm working on another one. The tantalum capacitors are full of silver. Some transistors over here. Again, silver and gold. So, yeah, got a lot of good stuff off these boards over here with just about a half hour's work. And I've still got a bunch of blank boards that I can strip the tin off of. And once the tin is stripped, I can still sell the boards to my scrap yard because of the copper content of them. So there's a lot of value to be had in e-waste, and just getting the maximum value out of it, you just got to come up with tricks like this, like using a cheap toaster oven to depopulate the boards. It's super simple. It's a no-brainer. Head out to your local thrift store, get yourself a cheap toaster oven. I don't think you'll regret it if you've got a lot of boards to process. All right, speaking of that, I've got a lot more boards to process. I was just taking a little break here to show you this. I can get a lot more done if I'm not yakking at the camera. So let me get back to work. Subscribe to see my future videos. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you found it at all interesting, educational, informative, inspirational, whatever, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye.